What's up, everybody watching this? Turn this air off. This is my UFC 203 predictions. Only gonna predict, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fights. Only gonna give the winners for the 5 fights. So here we go. I don't know if this will be the main event. I doubt it will be. Maybe it'll be the co-main event, but I doubt it. CM Punk making his UFC debut finally this Saturday at UFC 203. The guy left, signed with UFC in December 2014. Been under contract to UFC very long time. I'm talking well over a year. Been training. MMA training in my hometown of Milwaukee. Actually moved to Milwaukee so he could train full time twice a day. So CM Punk finally making his debut. Been training, I think, 12 to 15 months. Will he win? I don't know. I don't have a clue. My guess is he's probably going to lose. Anyways, I actually started watching the CM Punk documentary that has been on Fox Sports 1. If you don't have Fox Sports 1, if you don't have cable or satellite, you can actually watch it on YouTube. The CM Punk documentary's on UFC's YouTube channel. So go there and watch his documentary. So far, there's been like 3 or 4 episodes. I've seen every one of them. I haven't seen CM Punk's documentary episode from last night, but I will be watching it before Saturday. So I started watching the documentary. I wasn't going to at first, probably because I still have some anger towards him, being a hardcore wrestling fan, that he took his ball and went home and decided to leave wrestling, but whatever, it's his life, he can do whatever he wants with it. I don't have any more anger towards the guy. I never met the guy, but I was a really big fan of him when he was in wrestling. Anyways, back to Saturday in the fight back to his documentary. So, his documentary, I gave it a chance. I watched it and put my anger aside and tried to watch it. Watched first episode, it was pretty good. Watched second episode, liked it more. Watched the third episode, liked it even more. I will say I respect CM Punk for what he's doing. The guy is trying to fight in UFC. He's going to get in the octagon. He's going to step in the cage this Saturday for the first time ever in his life. He has never had a pro MMA fight. He's never had a pro MMA fight in his life before UFC. That's probably a big mistake, that he doesn't have much experience fighting other guys in other companies. Or like going to small MMA companies and fighting there first before he decided to call UFC. And he decided, CM Punk, I believe, has said this, that he called Dana White and asked Dana White if they could have a meeting, and because it's always been his dream, according to Punk, it's always been his dream to be in UFC and try it out. So, and he's even said, I believe, he said in his documentary that if he saw MMA, if he saw UFC as a kid over pro wrestling, that he would have been a UFC fighter first. And that he would have fell in love with UFC and MMA first if he would have got to see MMA first. But there was no MMA in the 80s when he grew up watching WWF. I don't know if I believe that. If Punk would have picked MMA first as his first love and wanted to get into MMA first over pro wrestling. I don't know if that's true. I don't really believe that. I mean, if I would have saw MMA as a kid, I don't think I would have been interested. To be honest, I was more interested in pro wrestling as a little kid. Got hooked on it because of the characters, the larger-than-life personas. I mean, just how a lot of the wrestlers looked and their characters and their wrestling gear, the bright colors, stuff like that. The show, watching wrestling as a show, watching it, it seemed larger than life to me as a kid. It was better than watching any movie, better than any cartoon I've ever seen as a kid. But UFC came around, I really got into it. I saw my first UFC pay-per-view in 96, 97. I was very entertained by it, and I've been watching ever since, 96. Every single year UFC's been around, I've watched a little bit of it. Some pay-per-views I've seen more and more of pay-per-views every year. Some I don't watch, some I do watch. Anyways, I'm not super into UFC. I'm not a huge MMA fan, but I do really enjoy it. I really enjoy it, and I am a fan of it. I'm not a hardcore fan. I don't order every pay-per-view. I don't watch every UFC fight night. I don't watch UFC Ultimate Fighter. That show keeps going on and on and on, trying to get new fighters. Good for UFC that they were sold for $4 billion. They made a huge profit. The guys that sold UFC, they made a huge profit. They made UFC into a huge business since they bought it in 2001 with Dana White as the president or whatever he was. So UFC and MMA has exploded. Probably it's been really exploding and popular probably since 2004 or 5, in my opinion. When the first Ultimate Fighter came on Spike TV, that was very entertaining. I believe the first season, Chuck Liddell and Randy Couture were the coaches, and then they had a fight. They had a couple fights. It was good stuff. Back to now, the UFC CM Punk documentary. If you're a wrestling fan, if you were a fan of CM Punk, I suggest you watch the documentary before UFC 203 on Saturday. Go on the UFC YouTube's channel. Watch all the episodes of UFC's CM Punk and his documentary. Watch all the episodes. You'll probably enjoy them, and it'll probably get you fired up and really into UFC 203 and really into the pay-per-view. Or it'll make you hyped for the pay-per-view and probably want to make you order it. So I respect Punk for moving to my hometown, training to get better, and wanting to do this. But I think the guy's going to lose. So my prediction, again, CM Punk could win, and he could surprise me and shock every MMA fan and be really good and kick ass. I don't know. It's hard to predict. So, but my prediction is Mickey Gall defeats CM Punk in round number 2. He defeats him. I don't know how, but he's going to defeat CM Punk. I heard from a friend on Twitter, great guy on Twitter, I believe your name's David, you're from Ohio. He told me that CM Punk did not cut and make weight yet. I believe he's 30 pounds overweight, needs to cut and lose 30 pounds by Saturday. I don't know if he has or what. But if that's true, CM Punk's that's going to be hard to lose a lot of weight, to make weight for his fight before Saturday. That's going to be tough, and that'll really tire his body out, I think. Losing a lot of weight and then going to fight, I think that would take a lot of energy out of somebody, and they wouldn't be ready to fight, and they'd lose. My prediction, Mickey Gall defeats CM Punk. Mickey Gall, I believe that's how you say his name. The guy is fought in MMA companies, smaller MMA companies. I've seen footage of him. The guy's a pretty damn good fighter, and he's probably way more experienced than CM Punk is. So Mickey Gall is going to defeat CM Punk. He could win in the first round. He might knock Punk the F out. Who knows? It's going to be entertaining. It's going to be interesting to watch this fight. I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to it. Mickey Gall, my prediction, defeats CM Punk. On to the other fights. Alex whatever his name is, not Alex, O'Ream, or whatever the guy's name is. He looked like a jacked up steroid freak. Last time I saw him fight, Alex O'Ream, I'll just call him. I don't know how you pronounce his name. I don't really care. I've seen him fight before. He fought Brock Lesnar. He's fought a lot of guys. He's been in MMA for a long time. The guy, I believe, was busted and failed a drug test for steroids, but he's back in UFC now. So I think that's how you say his name, Alex O'Ream or whatever. Who cares? You know who I'm talking about. He wins his fight, I believe. Other fights, I got Travis Brownie winning his fight. Faber winning his fight. And in the women's MMA fight, I got Jessica Aldrade, or her name's Jessica. I got Jessica winning her fight. There are my UFC 203 picks. There probably will be other fights on the pay-per-view, but these 5 that I predicted are on the pay-per-view. There are other fights that are the prelims to UFC 203. Hopefully you're watching it. This Saturday night is UFC 203 on pay-per-view. I will be watching it. I will be live tweeting it. And I will be doing a UFC 203 review after it. And I'll put it up on my YouTube. Follow me on Twitter at TNAWWE Guy. Also, subscribe to my YouTube and like my videos and share them and comment and just subscribe to my channel if you don't already. Bye for now, everybody. Hopefully you enjoy my UFC 203 predictions. Again, if you ever were a CM Punk fan, check out his UFC documentary. It's pretty damn good. Bye for now.